let's talk cycle touring. Have you tried it? Do you want to try it? Well, we're going to be discussing the 5 reasons why I and Paul, why we love cycle touring. Number 1, my main reason for loving cycle touring is choice. So you don't have to go for round the world for months and months and months. You can do a mini cycle touring adventure. You can go for one night. You can go for a couple of nights. You could go for a month. There's so much choice. In the UK, we've got a lot of choice with cycle paths, with the Sustrans NCN 7 routes. 7? That's because I love the NCN 7. With the NCN routes. And there's lots of information online where you can get routes from. You can make it up yourself. We cycled from our house just for a night. We called it cycle touring. It definitely was. We did a big loop through the forest, about 20 miles one day, back to the campsite, which is not too far from our house, and then just 7 miles home the next day. To me, that's a mini cycle tour. It's also not a race. I love cycle touring because it's not a race. You choose how many miles you want to do in a day, how fast you want to go. So sometimes you might do 7 miles in a day. Sometimes we'll do 50 in a day. And that's completely your choice. The only race you're in, I guess, is with the person you're cycle touring with. But that's it. Number 2, freedom to see the country you're in and connect with the landscape. By cycling, you're going at a slightly faster pace than walking, unless you're me going up a hill. You're going at a lot slower pace than if you're in a car. You're often off main roads, cycle tracks, so you're seeing a lot more of the countryside, going much closer to other people walking, cycling, and you really connect with that landscape that you're in. For example, when we cycled on the NCN 7 from Callander over to Killearn, you just feel you're in Glen Ogle. You're completely surrounded by the mountains. It's beautiful driving up there, but you're up and out within 5 minutes. Cycling, maybe like 20, if you're me. It's a steady uphill. So you're really connecting with that landscape. And with cycle touring, you've got that freedom. So if one day you're tired, you just do a shorter day. You don't need to stick to the route. You might get information from locals that there's a slightly better route. I was cycling from Bristol to Milton Keynes, and one night I stayed in a youth hostel near Avebury, and I was given some advice that one of the routes I decided to take, which was kind of not off-road but more gravelly at the time, was quite boggy because it was February. I do like cycling out of season. It was quite boggy. So they gave me a map and showed me a better route to do, which was on very quiet roads, and it was perfect. And you have that freedom. Number 3, being self-reliant and increasing your own resilience. When you're cycle touring, you are reliant on yourself, your bike, and the equipment. And going cycle touring, whether that's for a few days, months on end, or a few years, will build that resilience and that self-reliance. The first time I went cycle touring on my own, I was so nervous. I didn't know anything. So I did some research and I was out and about. I made mistakes and that helped me. Everything that I had on my bike, I was reliant upon. I had to make sure all the kit was in good working order. And, there was no one to ask for help but myself. We don't always have reception. There's not always people available to help. And by the end of the 3 days, I felt so much stronger and able to go away for longer. Number 4, getting fitter. I am not a gym bunny. I don't love forced exercise, but I love cycling and I love walking, and those things keep me fit. However, for cycle touring, if I was just doing the odd cycle ride now and again, I probably wouldn't be fit enough for a long tour. However, the amazing thing about cycle touring is you get fitter as you go. So if you're planning a cycle tour, you're not feeling super fit, start with a few days of short mile and build up each day, and you will increase your fitness. You will feel better. And then each successive tour you do, you're building muscle memory, in my opinion, and you'll just be fitter each time. Number 5 for me is the adventure and the joy of riding a bike. I love it. I've been cycling since I was a little girl, mountain biking, road riding, and cycle touring. And I just love that thrill. Slightly sick, nervous excitement sometimes. Have I got the right kit? Do I know where I'm going? Is it going to pour with rain? I'm not a fair weather cyclist, so I don't necessarily mind the rain, but it definitely helps if it is nicer weather. The joy of discovering new places, seeing the countryside, going into cities, seeing what their cycling networks are like, and within all of that, it's meeting locals and other cyclists. So I've kind of got a 5 and 6 there. But yeah, just wonderful. One of the best things about cycle touring for me is that you do not need to be an expert. You do not need special kit. You do not need to be super fit. Anyone can do it. All you need is a bike that's been well serviced and you can pretty much go. You don't need all the panniers if you're just starting out. You can just put a rucksack on. Panniers do help because they distribute the weight. You can get a little bit more on. You can have your tent on the pannier rack as well, if that's what you choose to do. But, you know, if it's your first time starting out, maybe stay in an Airbnb or a hotel, just do 10 miles each day. If that even seems too much, 5 miles each day. One trip I did, it was around the Isle of Arran on my own, and it is a 60-mile loop. Lots of people do it in a day as a road ride. And I really wanted to see Arran. So I planned to do 20 miles a day. So it took me 3 days. And I got into everywhere by lunchtime. And then I had the afternoon. So I was camping and I had the afternoon to go walking and exploring each area. So it is open to anyone. We are going to do some more videos about some of our cycle tours, the kit we take. Let us know in the comments if there's anything in particular you'd like to know or that you would like to see in a future video, and we'll see what we can do. Also subscribe if you can. Thank you.